All right, this is day one of my video biography, essentially. I got the idea after finishing my ccar class today of why not just throw a video out there of maybe an hour length, whatever it turns into, and record my story with hopes that maybe I can turn this into a book. So I'm gonna start at where I'm at right now. Like I said, am almost 3 years sober. I will be that in 2 months. Um, I have been, I had just gotten done with back surgery or where they cauterized my nerves, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better as far as physically. And yeah, just finished CCAR and I'm excited about the journey. I had a pretty good time talking and doing all of the skits and had whatever, it was great and I got comfortable. So for the next part, we're just gonna say as of what is it? Friday the 13th, of course. This is my day one of a video blog of just sharing with you all of my older stories, and I will obviously be saying my new stories as time goes on. But I guess I'll start with what drove me to even start doing this. Is I went to ICU and almost died. Spent quite a while in there recovering, and this was in 2023, so a little bit ago. And I drank myself so bad that I had dropped down to 137 pounds. I could barely even carry my own weight, and it was even starting to affect my speech. So it was pretty bad. Like, I'd like to say that I quit on my own, but the hospitalization is what really led me to finally start pursuing this. When what I mean by that is, you spend a week in the hospital or so, and they got you all drugged up, and then I had the luxury of being able to go spend a week with my mom out of town. So I got another week of sobriety essentially under my belt before I even got home. So I was sober for about 2 weeks before I got back, and that's when my girlfriend officially started quitting as well. Like, can't blame her. She drank till I came back home. Whatever. I would probably too, looking back. But anyways, so I wind up in the ICU, and they put you in that coma induced sleep as best as I can call it. And for me, I could hear still. I could hear people. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't focus. I, I was there mentally in mind, but I was not there. I have no idea what I looked like. Probably horrible. I mean, 137 pounds was pretty bad. I'm almost 6 foot tall. That shouldn't work. But so we get through that. I spend a week with my mom. At this point, I need some medical supplies, so I go out and we find a shower chair for me and a nice walker so I can start, at least the first process. And by the end, I'd been diagnosed with cirrhosis. I'd taken it that far. So now I have medical stuff to take care of. That kept me busy for quite a while too. All helpful in building the time and just keeping myself busy with just trying to get back to healthy is that was a hell of a journey. I mean, basically, you have to pick yourself up every day and give yourself a reason because I took the long way out, man. I stopped eating, so everything was more difficult because you're just so undernourished. And yeah, I could go on and on and on about it, but it was a slow process. Finally, just with my health, and but I stayed strong with the not drinking. I don't know how the hell I did it, but I have not drank since I got out of the hospital. And that was in 2023. So now it's 2026. I'm excited to be celebrating soon, my third. But I didn't go through traditional programs. Like my daughter asked me just for her own sanity when I went home, like to make her comfortable with me coming home. She said, "Dad, will you please just go to an AA meeting? Like just show up there and I'll feel a little better." So I agreed to that, and I have history with all of those other clinics like that. But at that point, I understood what I needed to do. I needed to get up and move. So I started, taking my walker, going down to the local AA meeting. Well, that went all right for about a week or two, and then they started getting really close with me, and I don't, I'm not completely on board with everything to do with AA. So as soon as they started, getting to know me and offering me materials and stuff that costs money for them, I just stepped back from it. And luckily, my daughter didn't take it too bad. She known that I'd been in and out of treatment since around 13, 12 years old. So it was more of just a knowing I had something to do and keep my mind off of it. So yeah, so we're working on like week 3 now, and I'm up here home, and I don't have any friends up here, and I live I live right behind a couple of bars, so I mean I got access to anything, but somehow just by how worn down I had gotten myself in this situation after multiple trips to the hospital with DTs and all kinds of other craziness I can get into later. There's some pretty interesting stories about that. I never would have imagined. But anyways, to keep the story going, uh, we're around 3 weeks, and I've gotten doctor's appointments. Now I'm starting to take some meds to just work on eating. Something to give me some energy. Taking the B12s, figuring out all the blood works, and realizing that I'm a lot more susceptible to catching stuff. Like within my first year of having cirrhosis, I somehow picked up hepatitis A, which is it's not that uncommon to get it, but it's uncommon to find it on a blood test when it usually just passes right through. So I started becoming aware of that too. Of course, try to take care of myself. But I did that for about a year and a half of just talking to my doctors, going to a physical therapist, and that burned up probably 16 weeks, I would guess, at least. I wound up completing the physical therapy part, and by then I was walking with a cane, so that was pretty cool. And I was finally getting out a little bit too. I can't remember exactly what events I attended, but I had Mackenzie's wedding, or my oldest stepdaughter's wedding. That was I can't remember the date. I gotta write some of this stuff down so it's more professional. But anyways, I was starting to get out, and now that was a new problem that I had to deal with. Was how do I go socialize with people after I've trained myself to not for so long? Just if I was present and noticeable, it was because I was being a jackass more than likely. I was making an ass out of myself. So that was all new to me too. So I just started slow, going to my stepdaughter's house, spending the day, spending the night with the grandkids, trying to just get to holiday events. And I went on, and I just slowly kept progressing, getting up to like 160, 70 around them, and slowly progressing. think I may. And then I got well enough to finally take a vacation. I can remember the story. Because it's the beginning of for my recovery. Really got a kick in the ass. Uh, I took a vacation with my oldest daughter and her boyfriend, and it was like a 9-day trip, which was great. Like, you get to see family members that come and go. And yeah, we basically got to see everybody. Got a new tattoo. That was cool of the moment and the place and everything on my neck. I love that. It's just the coordinates. So I was having a great time, at this. I had really started getting the grasp that I was getting better, and now I'm out having fun and enjoying stuff. And Silver Lake was obviously a very hard one for me to go back to because I never went there and didn't party since. I mean, I went there and didn't party when I was like 10 years old and shit, but definitely not as an adult or even as a, preteen. But I survived that, and I slowly started trying little things like seeing if, when it came to fitting in with everybody, I might bring an NA beer, or something like that, throw it in a koozie. And if not that, I did learn along the way that just having a pop with me, having something in my hand to drink or distract myself, everybody's always taking a drink. Shots, 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 shots. You hear that shit nonstop. Well, I needed something the very first time I went to do anything. So I just had a cherry coke the whole time in my hand, and it was enough. It was enough to distract me and make me feel like I was still part of all the shit. And then like I said, it slowly turned into, well, maybe I'll try a non-alcoholic beer, just making sure that I could drink them and not get past that point where you're not just enjoying the taste anymore. Now you're back to your addictive behavior again, because we all know you're just drinking to wind up needing to piss later, or it's one of those. It's a stupid thing to do. It's bad enough that you're paying for alcohol just for the taste when it's horrible. But anyways, that helps a lot with going to parties, going to weddings, going here and there. But then along comes Ottawa County. Somebody probably had a problem with me having that great of a week with my daughter and all that shit. Vengeful people. But anyways, they wind up having the county cops show up right after that. Like I'd only been home maybe a day or two from that trip, and all of a sudden I'm in the backyard just sitting talking to my fiance, and all of a sudden cops are looking over the fence, asking me my name and shit. And I stumbled through the conversation, and it wasn't long before I realized I was screwed. That I needed to just cooperate and give them my name and get ready for whatever was coming my way to take care of the child support warrants. That I had went back to COVID era, which that's a whole nother story I can tell you about that has to do with how the court system doesn't exactly like to take responsibility for their own screw ups. But anyway, so we're now to the point where somebody probably called on me and told them because I have this outstanding warrant for not showing up to court. And I had it probably now for 3 years or better. I can't really remember when it would have been issued, but I'd had problems since 2019, 2020 with maintaining a job. So they were always looking for me. And that's another story too about child support and how they don't really make it easy for you. But we're back to now. I'm paying the piper, so to speak. So I realize what's going on. And now I'm thinking, all right, well, I just got to be nice so they'll let me change my clothes and smoke a cigarette. Like I know I'm screwed. I'm going. So I do that. I talk to them, give them my ID. I finally tell them who I am. And to them, I just had open felony warrants. They couldn't tell that they were just for child support. So they were treating me as if I was actually something more than a financial felon. So they get me, and they're not exactly happy that they even got me. So, but we all know Ottawa County's going to come pick me up. So I go down there, spend the night, basically get woke up at God only knows whatever time in the morning before, definitely before they would have released me because they didn't show up. So they come pick me up in this wonderfully all aluminum van in the middle of winter. I'm in a t-shirt and jeans, so that sucked going 3 hours all the way back down there. And that's when my jail story started, which I'll keep that for a separate part too. But the cliff notes are I wound up spending around 7 months in Ottawa County Jail. And this was through my year and a half to 2 year part of my sobriety. So it was pretty rough, you know. You just feel down. Like you really need to catch a break. For me, I'd already quit drinking and started moving in positive directions. And, I thought that might actually help my case, waiting for the judge. Well, of course, they just see it as a number and another problem. And the fact that somehow I have the attorney general attached to my child support case. Once again, another story for another day. Ah, so nothing's easy or straightforward. I should have gotten around 30 days. That was what they would typically give for the same thing because it was just missing court during COVID, and then I hadn't turned myself in essentially. But so we go through that. You get treated like a criminal the whole way through. The one good thing I did get out of it was a lot of personal reflecting. Did a lot of journaling. Did a lot of thinking. A lot of reading. All the things that I enjoy anyway and do. But did manage to take one thinking for a change class I found that was kind of my gateway into the whole ccar and thinking more beyond my sobriety, my personal sobriety. That my story is so unique that maybe it'll help somebody else along the way. That's the best I can hope for after going through it all myself. Because I don't fit any of the molds. Yeah, I didn't actually come into recovery until after I had gotten out of jail. I had built up kind of a relationship with CMH. So as soon as I got out of jail, which is almost a year ago now, I got connected with CMH and back with my doctors. But jail wasn't good to me. I came out weighing probably like 220 because I can't eat jail food. I just ate honey buns. But like I said, there'll be a lot of times where there's another story for later. Sorry, but if you stick around, you will hear all of the stories. This is just the first attempt. Um, so, anyways, we get through that. Now I'm busy with CMH, and I'm starting to think about going to college, and I'm still trying to get my disability stuff going because I haven't worked since 2019. So I focused on that, getting all that stuff going. And of course, I live in Gladwin County, so everything's really slow. You put 6 months on top of what you would consider normal to be seen or deal with anything. So I'm finally, just now, I actually just got my final cauterization for my back, which I had started working on right when I got out. So 8, 8, 9, 10 months down the road, I finally actually gotten my nerves cauterized. So right now I'm just in the self-discovery phase of finding out how much better I am, or if I'm gonna go back to the way that I was. So that's something to be excited and apprehensive about right now. Um, but yeah, I do that, get out, do the CMH. I'm still having trouble finding a spot to just find the cars training or get my foot in the door of training or anything. It just seems so much more difficult when you are approached when you approach people with already having 2 years, you weren't really in an emergency case in most of the places that I'd talked to. And I spent most of my time searching out groups. I found sober not boring. That was cool. Uh, and then I used the admin first. I was like, you know what? The admin of a group like this has to have some idea of the state. Well, at the end of the day, I found it, but it was a lot of searching from that point on of trying to get a hold of different program managers. And then, of course, it's like the end of the year, so they're all telling me, well, no, you need to call back at the beginning of the year because we haven't even gotten our budgets or decided what we're doing for the year. So I keep researching and everything. Well, finally, I come across uh, between me and my therapist and my CMH worker, we come across Peer 360, and I started getting the info from them, and then it led to a call to my local rehab center, which is 1016 up here, and that led to the referral to this training that I just finished today. So through just perseverance and persistence and constant effort, never dropping, never just, I just didn't give up when I should have, long ago. We've made it to today where I am now ccar trained and I'm going to be working on get passing my ethics training. And from there, who knows? But I had the inspiration after Zoom all week that it wouldn't be that difficult to just start a series of videos about my stories. And, the very worst, I've always wanted to be an author. So this could be the way to help me write my story is to video blog it and try to put it all together at the end. But I don't foresee this story ending anytime soon. If I keep videoing I mean, doctors tell me I could be 40 more years. So you will hear a hell of a lot of stories. Bad. Some sound fun. Some were fun. I'm not going to lie. But here we are now. We've done all that stuff. We've gone through the worst of the worst. You finally found a girl that supports you and hope is excited about this as I am. We're closer than we've ever been to being able to finally make our own decision on where we want to live. For instance, that's just going to be a huge journey. Uh, I've had a lot of really crazy stuff happen since I got out of jail. Like I'd never thought I'd get my license back. Well, between the help of family and friends and just somebody trusting me to give me a loan, now I got a license. And that was taken away in 2015. So I had lost it due to a lien, an insurance lien, for 10 years. And like I said, I'd given up on the whole idea of ever even driving because hell, I had one last thing as a drunk just keep holding on to that was so positive I thought about everybody else's. I'd never gotten a DUI. Well, that's great and all that now, but it's really nothing to be proud of. But it's helped me even tremendously now because now my record is completely clean. I can get car insurance a lot cheaper and there's benefits to it. But those are all more stories for later. The whole point is I'm really excited to try and share my story one video at a time. So if you are interested in it, it might take me a year or two to even get through this last year on these, but I'm gonna keep trying it. All right. Well, we almost made it to 25 minutes. That felt like it took forever. All right. Well, I'm going to work on some bullet points for my video I'm going to try and make tomorrow. Thank you very much.